do this, you need to be, in my opinion, if you're going to do Huckfest, you should have a jump-specific car.
Yes, I agree. Or you should know that you're going to go about 100 feet and be okay with it.
Right, right.
And be okay
Yeah,
with
yeah,
that.
yeah. Don't go Al Macbeth style.
Yeah. I went the opposite way of him.
Yeah.
He went nose down. I went nose up. But
I feel like a lot of the videos I've seen from here, though, everyone's always landing nose high because a lot of times you're going into the wind.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just the wind definitely sucks. But
you know, I'm just super stoked that you walked away, jumped out. We're feeling good. I mean, I'm sure you'll have a little bit of whiplash here afterwards, but you know, honestly, I can't be more excited to see that you're sitting here with us. Excited to see that car slapped down so hard, lost the tire, lost a bunch of parts, and you walked away with it with a smile, knowing exactly that was meant for the purpose. That was exactly why it was built the way it was built, and you're here to talk to us today.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. I mean, do you guys know who Smadrical is?
Yep.
He did the exact same thing I just did and was in the hospital paralyzed. Exact same thing.
By the way, you should go follow him because he has the coolest little cat.
Does he?
Like that. He likes snowboards and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. But he's up and recovering and all that stuff.
He's,
so
I think he's walking again, right?
He is walking again, yeah. And he's able to ride bikes and all that stuff, but it's been a long road to recovery. And, you know, he wasn't someone that shied away from safety, but he was definitely somebody that was unfortunate in the situation that happened.
Yeah, yep.
And technology has come so far.
It has. And information, too. We're able to get information so much easier nowadays. Like, even though it took me a lot of research to get the information I needed, I was able to get it.
Right.
You know.
With the wind like this, you know, we were talking about how it affects you guys jumping. For people that haven't done this before, can you kind of explain what it does when you're jumping into the wind and what the difference is of having a headwind or a side wind, tailwind, what that does to the car?
Yeah, I mean, obviously headwind will, if you go up at all, it'll catch your nose and bring you up farther. Down, opposite, you know. Side wind, it carries your car, and typically you'll end up landing sideways, and you've got to drive, you know, hit that steering wheel perfect and drive out. And I mean, side wind's pretty tough.
Well, let's let you take a break and go see your buddies and shake some hands and hug some people and have a good show and root these guys on.
Cool. Thanks, Zach.
Hey, thanks for coming down and talking to us.
Glad you're okay, man.
Yeah, me too.
Love having your smiling face here.
See you guys.
All right, so Huckfest is definitely back into swing of things. Looks like guys are being a little bit reserved with how they're handling the jumps. This is something that, you know, everybody loves doing, and they want to be serious and take it seriously. So, little RS1, I can't hear the speakers through all the people that have migrated into the media box, but we'll just kind of wing it and make some commentary over it. I can't explain how excited I am just to be here, getting this done. This has been a great, an idea that I've had for a long time, and I'm stoked to be here doing it.
Yeah, I feel like this whole Starlink thing is a game changer.
Yeah.
We were, you know, at the Baja 500, Score started to play with it. They're starting to do some live feeds from remote areas. You know, I think we're looking at actually having one for our chase team. Pretty good jump there with the Yamaha.
Yeah, a little YXZ, custom cage, all that stuff. I don't know why he's going out the course though, so he might not be coming back. But no, it's a good time, and I can't wait to have this in the storybooks and all the memories we've been getting this week.
Yeah, definitely. Do we know who the leader is or how far the jump is?
I have no information. I usually have a headset on, but with everything going on and people managing, we're making the best do here. So I think we have Colton definitely has the lead, but I don't know who officially has the front length here at with all the guys that are driving away.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't seen anyone outside of Colton really send it.
No, I think they're cautious, and I think they should be.
No, for sure.
It's all about managing the ability to push past the next person, but not risk everything.
I think one of the things that Colton brought up and why he hit it so hard is a lot of times with these jumps, when you have a fresh lip, it's a lot easier to kind of gauge how to hit it.
Right.
And as it tracks in, sometimes then that changes. So it's going to be interesting because I feel like a lot of these guys have been feeling the jump out of if they're going to try to kind of ramp it up now or what they're going to do. Because
and I think that's the way it should be. I think you should be reserved on your first one just to get settled in and make this happen. Holy cow, Brent. sending it in
Yes.
the Can-Am Max with the Fiberworks body. He is driving away, but that was a hard hit. That was definitely a hard hit.
Yeah, he was really nose high, and then that actually looked like he tapped the brakes and almost landed on the brakes. And that's
and he still
the front
slapped
end
down.
Yeah.
It looks like he's telling them something, probably that was it for him, and I would assume so because that was a hard hit. We felt it in the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of crazy how you can feel them landing in the dune here.
Yeah, so his car is pretty unique. Obviously, he has the Fiberworks body on it, but that car was completely rebuilt last week by SF Fabworks, and a whole custom cage put in, all suspension from Deviant Race Parts. That car has been built stout, and it was actually built to go racing, but also to take up this abuse at Huckfest. So hats off to SF for building such a great cage. He's obviously driving away from that hit, and he landed hard, and he's driving away. So shout out to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Ruslan sending it.
There you go. Nice jump by Ruslan.
I'd be willing to bet that he's got it on that.
I was going to say that could be.
Well,
close.
I mean, Brent did land right there, so.
He might have it with that.
Yeah, Brent
it just
might
wasn't
have
a pretty landing. But and I was going to say, I don't know if you saw on Brent's car, the left rear fender.
Yeah.
That the bracket for that was bent.
Yeah.
So he had landed so nose high that he drug the back end of the car.
Right.
As he drove away, you could see that it was bent up. So. Yeah,
and he had taken that car out earlier this week and had lawn darted right off of a witch's eye, and Ned from MTS Suspension was right next to him watching him, and he lawn darted that car hard off about 8 feet. And all he did was bend the little fender, the little bumper on the top where the bodywork attaches. So shout out again to SF Fabworks for getting that car safely built.
Yeah, definitely. Those guys do some great work.
And they're building a lot of race cars recently, and you're going to see a lot more from them. They got some cages you can buy for your OEM cars and all that, and put your safety in their hands.
Yeah, it's always cool to see the different approaches that different builders have with cages, and, suspension, different things.
There's definitely a lot of geometry that goes into these cars, just from the OE standpoint. And there's the Drevet syndrome from Brad and Radek, sending the old siren while he does it.
Yeah.
So he definitely made that jump nice and clean. A little bit of a slap, but that car, that suspension, took it, no problem. That actually is a car built by Al Macbeth. That is Al Macbeth's original jump car.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so that car is definitely built stout, definitely built for one purpose, and that purpose is to race and jump.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a clean jump there.
Looks like we got the next jumper coming up. I don't know exactly how many jumpers are. I haven't been keeping count because of everything going on, but he took a little bit of a nosedive there and drove away cleanly.
Yeah, it looked like he was kind of taking it easy, feeling it out.
He's got kind of a cool little mohawk thing going on with that RS1. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he does. I kind of question having the big flags like that, though, especially when you're going into a headwind of, when you're already having an issue with the car coming front end high, and then you've got flags like that up top. It seems like that would
I think one of the important things is people need to think about what they're doing. It's easy here to just join in, and if you're going to do that, just take a second, step back, analyze your car, analyze your situation, and make sure you're making the right choice.
Yeah, for sure.
Looks like we got a next jumper coming. Got Kyle from UTV Source making a nice clean jump. Landing smooth, didn't hear a thing, and didn't feel a thing in the ground.
Yeah.
And he just got, I think he's MTS on that shock package on that car.
I think the RS1s are so much lighter too, versus like the 4-seater Can-Am.
Right.
So there's a lot less weight there.
And a little more aerodynamic without having a parasail on the back of the car. So hopefully we can see some more clean hits here.
Yeah, very true. And then also with like the wheelbase of that the 4-seater Can-Am, when you do get front end high and you slap it down, there's a lot more leverage there versus like the shorter wheelbase like the RS1.
Woo, lockdown performance in the 4-seater, getting a clean hit, huck there. A little sideways to the driver's side. That could be a sign of the lip getting a little bit eroded. Or it could be that the sand's starting to collapse in a little bit and kind of guiding their rear end as they take off.
Yeah, as it gets rutted and you have different width cars, the ruts are a little different. So sometimes you kind of pinball off the ruts as you take off, and that'll kick you out sideways.
So in Oklahoma last year, that was one of the deals, is they only did one blade wide on the dozer, and what ended up happening was the sand started coming in and they were ping-ponging through. They've learned from those lessons, and they've definitely changed up the jump this year. Little Pro R action down there from Dirt. Is that Dirt? That's not Dirt Designs, is it? We'll see him coming up here in a second. So yeah, so that's a launch edition Pro R. His logo's on the other side, so can't see it.
Yeah, it just said Huck on this side.
Just says Huck on this side.
So, and he did huck it.
He did huck it. It did land a little hard, slap down, but I think that's going to be common for the heavier cars with the skid plates and all that stuff going on.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and with the wind, with the front end coming high, that's going to happen.
It's just going to happen. There's no way to avoid it unless you have a long distance to tap brake on, and then you have to accelerate too. So, all right, we got another hard hit from a Pro R, but he managed to land that and keep control, kept posture, and he's coming back up.
Is that? No, it's not Wilkie, but that's Wilkie's car, right?
That is Wilkie's car. That is Wilkie.
Yeah, there's.
Oh, no, that's Wilkie, right?
Yeah, Wilkie's talking to him.
So that's his buddy.
Yeah, Wilkie's not driving.
Got thumbs up. He feels okay. They wanted to make sure that he was feeling good about it. The car's in one piece. Nothing's broken, it looks like. And Blake's, he's taking it easy. He wants to make sure he's ready for race season and stuff with his TT Bug, which is a pretty fantastic car. Shout out to him and his team for building those. But he's more concerned about his friend and how he feels and making sure they're safe.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a relatively stock Pro R.
So that car, I believe, was purchased or delivered Friday, and they built it and then they took off to Takeover. So that's pretty much all stock components. They have some bolt-on things, seats, harnesses, stuff like that. But
it's got a bumper and whip and some stuff like that. But yeah, it does look pretty stock.
So their flags are up, meaning there's a jumper coming. So let's see what happens here. Something that the Takeover staff takes seriously is a clean, safe runway. So we got multiple people with flags. Everybody has to be in check. They communicate over radios, and they'll leave the flags up if everything's safe. All right, so that's the Dirt Designs truck, which it's the same thing as Brent's car. Yeah. It's a Can-Am Max 4-seater with a Fabworks carbon composite body design, basically fiberglass.
Yeah.
And they have to do, technically speaking, they only have to do minimal changes to the car to put that bodywork on there. But to keep the safety factor and keep a rollover protection, they do many times just replace the entire cages, which they did on that one and Brent's car. So he landed a little lighter. So something happened there that was a little better for him than it was for Brent.
I think he wasn't quite as front end high.
That could be.
And
he could have let off at the lip or something to do that. So we just had that Razor turbo come through and land pretty hard. His nose dug in a little bit, but it wasn't much of a slap as much as it was a flat landing with a full compression. The nice thing about the Pro R is that the suspension gives you that, I think it's like 4 inches of like clearance at the bottom before it bottoms out, and the tires soak up the rest, so your tires kind of act like a bump stop in that regards, but it's no replacement for a bump stop by any means.
Yeah, I think bump stops would be the way to go for doing something like this.
Oh, for sure. Flags are up. Okay. Little Honda Talent action on that one. That was a clean hit.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, to me it just seems like the shorter wheelbase cars are landing a lot softer.
And they're landing flatter, it looks like. The lighter ones, not the heavier ones.
Right. Yeah, I think one thing I'd like to point out for people that have never been here, we're sitting here looking out at this jump, and you've got Coos Bay with the bridge and the palm.
And I got the shot right now with the bay in the background.
Okay, so yeah, if you can see that, I mean, what an epic location.
Oh, I mean, this place is beautiful. You can go every corner and get something new and keep working through it.
Another Honda Talon.
Yeah, that was a clean hit. again, I think the lighter cars have this one. They're not going as far, but they definitely have a clean hit.
I'm thinking Brent and Ruslan have got to be up there for the lead right now.
They got to be tying for the lead somewhere, yeah. Vying for the lead.
Yes.
All right, flags are clear, so let's get the let's get this shot. The head-on shot's been pretty awesome so far, so I'll keep going back to that one. Shout out to Reef Creative for sending us his wireless feed of his shot. He's downwind of the jumps and getting the head-on shot pretty well. I think he's actually flying.
I've seen a few drones up.
RS1 landing well, flying well. That was a clean hit.
Yeah,
and that flag, though, I keep going back to what you said about that. I didn't
really
even think about it until you brought it up. That much drag on your car could affect the way that it handles in the air for sure.
Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't have that big of a flag on a car if I was going to be doing this. Right. Especially some of the guys have 2.
Oh yeah, I mean I've seen a car out here with 5 flags on it.
Yeah. Well, guys that are jumping, that like some of them have 2 of the really large flags. So.
Right. So we got flags up, ready to hit. I think they're all just kind of taking the opportunity to have good, clean runs at this point, which is fine. I mean, we're all here to have a good time and a good show. So,
in my opinion, it's better to walk away in one piece and not have to go wrench on your car or rebuild your car than.
It's way better to drive your car in the trailer than it is to winch it in.
Yeah. Or. Yeah, they might be using a crane to put that on a flatbed or something, but. Yeah, I do think like if you can work your way into it and kind of feel out the jump, see what it's doing, it just is that kind of catch-22 of as the jump face starts to go away, the face could get better, it could get worse, you don't really know.
Right, and it's important for the drivers to understand that this is essentially a sport that things change over time. Like a race course, when you're out racing and you're going through the same section for a second, third, fourth time, it's never the same. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think all types of racing I've done, the courses are always changing when you're doing off-road. So, you'll go, well, like when we're down in Baja, you go pre-run a section like a week before the race, and it'll be kind of smooth and, maybe there's the silt's not that bad, and then you come through at race day, and by the time everyone's pre-run, all the trophy trucks have gone through, now you've got this gigantic silt bed and whoops all over the place. So it's kind of the same thing here where that was a pretty good jump there by the
that YXZ does pretty well. He had a little bit of a side slap on it, but he handled it well, and I think he's doing okay. He's ripping up the dunes like he's going for round 2, so he's doing pretty good on that, I think.
And how many jumps is everyone getting today? Is it 2?
It really comes down to how many people show up and how the event turns out, right? So I think it was last year or something like that. We had a few wrecks right in a row. And they took the time to clean up the track, get the guys out safely, and make sure that everybody was aware of what was going on so that they weren't making mistakes when they approached the jump. So, I think everyone's just taking their time. I think if you only have a handful of guys, you let them take their time, get regroup, get their head clear before they jump. And now we're seeing Brent jumping again, which means he's feeling okay. And that car is...
he kind of backed it down on that one.
He backed out a bit, yeah. But I think he proved his point on the first one.
Yeah, for sure. And you can see
the back body
bend
corner.
There, yeah. Actually looked like maybe a bolt broke on a bung or something. On that.
So that body work, that whole rear section is floating on just a couple arms that are there to be rigid. They're not really structural. All the structure is at the shock point.
Gotcha.
And so that really doesn't have a bed to store anything. It doesn't have any room to accumulate luggage or anything like that. So it's just there for looks at the back. If you hit hard, you're going to break something that's normal and expected.
Right.
Dravet syndrome, Brandon Radek getting a little nose high, but pulling it out. Doing a great job there. Brandon's a seasoned, experienced jumper and Willie Fest champion here at UTV Takeover. He lives here in the Pacific Northwest up in Leavenworth, Washington. And does a great job representing the Dravet syndrome brand Foundation. And again, if you guys don't know what that is, please visit the Gervais Foundation online. They have a place where you can donate and offer support, and we'd appreciate you guys doing that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that he's bringing attention to that. You know, it's a great cause. And he's one of the OGs of this. I mean, he's been doing this since the beginning.
Ruslan!
Woo! All right, that's got to be the furthest jump.
Yeah, I think Ruslan nailed it on that one. That's definitely a championship jump right there.
Yeah, that's going to be hard to beat.
No,
you know,
and it looks like his car, he got it started again.
Yeah.
So something's going on when he lands that it's killing the motor.
Yeah, that was, he sent it there. But that's what Ruslan does.
Yeah.
He sent it. So, it's really,
that car
really
is super cool too. That R custom built. It has some really cool like vampire style like fangs on it that make it do a good job landing, going back to those bump stops. So, can I get people to back away from the satellite, please? Can you guys move over, please? Can I have you back up just a little bit? Thank you.
Yeah, I was looking at his car when they were putting the turbo on it, and I saw he's got the King shocks on it with the bump stops.
Yep.
You know, that car is specifically made for jumping, and you can see. I mean, that's why he's our leader right now.
Right, and he's not just a kid with a car. He's a kid that has a family of people around him and a community around him that help educate him, help correct things, help document things, and make sure that he's improving every time. Not just, you know, risking every time.
Yeah.
So he has mentors like Al Macbeth. He has mentors in the sport of off-road and stunting and all that stuff, contributing to his knowledge at such a young age. I can't imagine what he's going to be when he's older.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, he's got a couple years under his belt right now, and he's 14 years old.
Right.
So, you know, yeah, he's going to be a beast when he's 18 or so.
A little heavier.
Yeah.
We're going to have to adjust
Yeah,
those rates.
but I mean, you know, if most people think back to what were you doing when you were 14, not too many people were doing Huckfest.
Right.
So, and, you know, like the video of him jumping the canal, kind of that's what he got famous for.
Woo, we got a no-hander from Kyle in the RS1 on that one. That was pretty cool.
So we're doing Huckfest freestyle now.
We're doing the free, so it's like Monster Jam, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You go for your race first, and then you go for the freestyle at the end.
I mean, he's got the look. Yeah.
Well, me and him are kindred spirits with the beard and the hair and everything. So.
Well, and kind of the Evel Knievel style helmet there. You know, he's got the red, white, and blue. You know, he's ready to go.
For sure. Kyle's a character. If you've ever get a chance to meet Kyle, he's the sweetest, biggest, huggable little guy, but he's got a sense of humor that will knock it out.
You know, he's going pretty big for the four-seater there.
Yeah, that car is the Lockdown Performance four-seater Polaris Razor, and it sounds like it's fairly well built.
It does.
And it's landed fairly smooth for what it is, right?
You know, and he ran.
He's got stock trailing arms and he's got stock radius rods, so he's definitely got a shock package that's compensating for that.
Yeah, and I think that's got a motor in it.
Yeah, he's got the power.
He ran the short course, and you know he was doing pretty good against a lot of the smaller, lighter cars.
He did, yeah. And he lawn darted it on the second heat.
yes, he did.
So he lawn darted it, and he's out here racing today because obviously someone's taken the time to make sure that car is well built. Flags up. We got a two-seater Pro R, landing a little bit slappy, but soaked it up, no problem. That Launch Edition
seems like
orange
the
and black.
Pro R maybe likes a little faster approach, and then letting off as you come off the lip.
Yeah, you're gonna have to let off, let that
front end to drop.
Yeah, you gotta let that suspension extend out a little bit and get settled down before you jump, I think.
Yeah, they've all been coming a little front end high from what I've noticed.
Polaris has a history of good flying cars. Ever since like the turbos came out, they really kind of dominated the way that the cars fly through the air, I think. The Can-Ams have a tendency to buck when you jump them. There's a number of other manufacturers that people sometimes jump, but it really comes down to the Can-Ams and the Polarises. And the Can-Ams definitely don't fly quite as well. And the Polarises seem to have a little bit, I don't know if it's geometry or if it's, woo.
All right, so that was the
Wilkie's car.
in his car.
Yeah, got a
Looked
little
like he definitely sent it a lot harder there.
He definitely
I'm thinking Wilkie told him to be on the gas a lot more.
We're pointing at Wilkie over here.
And he's nodding yes, so I'm going to say he told him to send it that time, and he did.
Yeah, he sent it, and looks like he had a little bit of a neck slap on that one, and so he might be double checking himself on that and making sure he's good. That car has a less. That car is. We said that he received it on Friday and drove it here. It has a less than 100 miles on it, and he's hucking it in Huckfest. So,
hey, that's what they're for, right?
If you're not living, what's the point?
Yeah, if you're gonna have one, you might as well use it. Oh!
Oh my goodness! So he just lost a tire off the back end. I thought it was off the front end, but he's going to be looking for some parts here shortly. So what happened there is he had a spare tire on the rear end of that car. He landed way nose high, taking those beauty arms off the back, taking the quarter panels off, and looks like the spare tire as well. So if anyone needs, looks like maybe a DS or something and a Method forged wheel, you can come claim it here at Huckfest at the top of the hill. I'm sure he doesn't need it for a while.
Looks like there's other few miscellaneous parts. Seems like that body kit, it hangs off the back quite a bit.
It does.
So when they're landing that front end high, both those cars have hit the back end.
Right. But he drove away. He drove off course, so he'll be checking his car out here, and we are flags up, ready to jump. I saw him say the distance. I could not hear him say the distance because the crowd's migrated in a little bit here. Just a reminder to anyone that's participating in these events, be mindful of the people that are working there. They're almost always volunteers doing their jobs. Looks like they're waving him off right now. Something's going on. They're going to go back out on course and grab some stuff that has fallen off the car. Oh, I guess they're not. I guess it's just somebody needed to cross that felt it was more important to cross during Huckfest than before Huckfest. So shout out to that guy for holding everybody up, and hopefully everyone gives him a very hard and high five. Looks like we're good to go, so they're going to get the flags up here in just a second.
Yeah, so you were talking about the crew here from UTV Takeover.
Yeah.
Bunch of great guys. You know, I think they've assembled a very solid team. They do a really good job of putting on these events.
And last season, I worked directly with all those guys throughout the year, and I know how much work goes into these events. I know everybody just shows up and says, oh, we could have done this. We could have just told everybody to meet here and done the same thing. It's not quite that. It's a full-time job for these guys, and Steve and Jim really do a great job. They actually have full-time. Steve has a full-time job in an engineering firm, and he's working every day, right? And then he's coming home for the rest of the night working to make sure that these events can go off for everybody. So if you see Steve and Jim, give them a high five. Let them know how much you appreciate it, and that you're excited to be here, and what you find unique with the event, because everyone has a different story.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I think one of the other things that is cool is that they do 4 of these a year, and they're spread out around the country. So people are watching, if it's a really long drive to come to the Oregon Dunes, you can go catch this at Sand Hollow. And Jay, Oklahoma is the other one, right, that's left for this year. So
yeah, we got Oklahoma, and then they're going to end in Sand Hollow. And Sand Hollow is such an amazing place. But we're hearing more and more about Jay, Oklahoma, because of the Mid-America Outdoors, who was the title sponsor of the Takeover events this year. And
that's a heck of a facility, from what I understand.
Yeah, so they've really went out of their way to make everything a little bit more welcome and friendly for the visitors and the racers. Cabins to lazy rivers to all sorts of stuff. You're going to have a good experience when you go there. Now, weather-wise, you might be battling some heat and some humidity, but for the most part, they're going to make the best out of all of it. Hana Talon running clean.
Landed on the throttle there.
Landed on a little bit of a rev limiter there, and he's not afraid to show it off apparently. So he's coming up here to return. He had a good clean hit. Committed Motorsports, and he was committed on that one. I mean, he didn't back off. It didn't seem.
Yeah.
But the Hana Talon, doesn't have all the turbo power that the other cars have. So. Yeah,
I think you're gonna have a tough time getting the same distance as the turbo cars, just because you don't have the sheer horsepower.
Right. And to make a huck, you got to have a ramp up, right? You got to go uphill, and that's a big part of it. A little jump from the black Talon.
Yep.
So last year we really saw the evidence of that with the naturally aspirated cars having to fight gravity on the way up and losing all their momentum. The big turbo cars are really where it's at when it comes to Huckfest, but anybody can go out and have fun in these cars and jump little hoops and get through the whoops and have a good time. They don't have to show up at Huckfest to have a good time in these cars.
Yeah, I think if you look at, say, Ruslan's car, he works with TPR and Crowler, so I'm sure, I don't know exactly what he's got in his RS1, but I'm sure there's some sort of a motor package in there.
You just got a sand.
Yeah, a little kid just decided to blast me with sand.
We just had the RS1 jump through. He looks like he has a high lifter kit on that, or a Super ATV lift kit on that. So he's got some clearance, and he's jumping. He's going back for another jump.
Yeah, he was in Hillfest in that same car, and I was kind of looking at the setup because his ride height was really high, and I'm like, he's got to have that thing set up for Huckfest, and it seemed like he didn't really bring it down for Hillfest.
Right.
Which, that's all about cornering.
Right.
So it seemed like it would have been better off if he would have had the car lower for that, but it does seem like this setup works really well for
Huck. Obviously, he's got some preload on it, yeah, and it's important that preload doesn't fix all the problems with hucking, right? But it can definitely help if you have it set up right.
Yeah, what I was going to say when I was talking about Ruslan's car is, it comes down to suspension and horsepower for Huckfest, and whoever has the best setup there, you need horsepower, you need to get you off that lip and send you the furthest, but then you need the suspension to make that landing. And I think
throttle control is a huge part of it too. Just like wheelies, right?
Well, yes. Then also it takes driver skill to land correctly without being front and high. And, yeah, but but as far as on the car side, I think it's horsepower and suspension is what's gonna get you the furthest for a big jump.
You got to maintain the speed.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Okay, this is gonna go bad. All right, thumbs up, he's okay.
All right, we're getting thumbs up from the driver. We got staff on site, he's good. They're checking him out right now, trying to get the door open for him. Looks like he's gonna come out the window. All right, he's helmet off, sunglasses on, he's up top.
All
right. Taking a breath from one of the biggest jumps of the day. Everyone's glad to see him okay. They're gonna come get the excavator to come pull him off. Yeah, that Pro XP is going to be needing some parts.
Yes, it is. It looks like left front took the brunt of that. Again,
that slap.
Front end high, and they're slapping that front end down.
Yep.
And he also got like a little sideways too, so it slapped sideways, and then he cartwheeled kind of end over end sideways, it looked like to me. So, definitely it looks like the wind is affecting them, but but
and
then
the wind's variable, right?
That too. So that is what's tough to gauge is as you're setting up for the jump, it may fluctuate 5-10 mile an hour in wind, which could really change the throttle control that you want to have as you take off that lip.
Holy crap, we got instant replay over here. Let's get back to that camera. Oh, he just turned it off.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even see that. That was awesome.
So this is another testament to the safety of the car, though, because that cage is perfect.
That cage doesn't look like it's moved at all.
Yeah. So I mean, that car looks like it's built well. I think that left corner took a pretty good shot. So it looks like, probably A-arms on that side.
Probably a shock.
Yeah.
The wheels probably cracked. Those things happen, and these guys going into it knowing that. And that's not like a stock car. The guy knows what he's doing. He's got a number plate. He's been in the game for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it looks like that car has been built to race like Works or something.
Right. And he had the window nets. It's an interesting topic about window nets is I've seen so many times people be saved by window nets. Even our buddy Brandon Raddick, who wrecked a car earlier this week, he had some major hand damage and stuff like that, but that was because the rollover was so violent that his hand flew out up by the corner and it hit the cage and all the bolts and stuff like that. but his arm didn't go out the door. If his arm would have been out the door, he would have been armless today.
Yeah. Yeah, I think nets are a real big thing. You know, obviously our race cars, we always have them. You're required to have them, and rightfully so. But you know, I think anytime where you're really pushing the limits in a car, you want to have those nets because you want to make sure you stay in that car.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool because some of the cars, like the Honda Talon and stuff, come with nets in the windows. And I really think that's a great idea. That's something that I think a lot of the OEs should explore. But it looks like we're going to go back to Huckfest here. And looks like our Black Hat Studio fireworks. He's got his torch lit, so there might be doing some flamethrowing here. Flags are up.
I'm curious to see what happens here.
He's kind of sitting back, but he might be doing it on the next one.
Yeah. So let's say we got Ruslan first. I think, well, actually, Wilkie's buddy might be pretty far.
Yeah,
for like
he was pretty good. He was right in front of us.
Yeah, and then also Brent in his first jump.
Yep.
I'm gonna say
he drove away from it, so he captured that one.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, I'm
but
gonna
that white one went pretty far on that last jump too.
Yeah. I feel like that Brent's jump was further.
Yeah.
But
well, I think next time what we do is we hire a bunch of statisticians to start feeding us data so we can start analyzing like ESPN.
Yeah. I mean, I feel very confident saying that Ruslan's in first right now.
Yeah, he sent it on that and did a great job.
And
all right, here we come.
And I really think that's going to be a tough one to beat. I think he kind of set the bar on that one. Oh.
All right, we're going to get a check on him.
He's KO'd.
All right, so he knocked himself out on that one. He sent it a little too hard and blacked out, so we're going to get medical staff there. So while they're checking on him, we'll cut away from that just in case, you know, something does happen. But we do have medical staff already on the car. We have the the Hauser Patrol here with 2 medical vans at the landing site ready to pull out, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. They do a great job. That crew is supported by lots and lots of veterans of the medical industry and
okay,
seasoned
all right,
veterans.
hey, he just came to.
All right, he's awake, he's awake.
All right, I was a little worried there. He was KO'd for a while.
So they're going to check him out. Obviously, they're going to make sure he doesn't have any neck damage, things like that. But it's super important that we just reiterate, this is about safety, and that car's cage is in one piece. That car's cage is not dented in. That car's cage did its job, it did its purpose, and he's going to be able to go home and say hi to his family and all of that.
He actually looks like he's fine now, so he's probably you know a little concussed, but but that was a violent rollover there. That when it hooked, that actually was it his left front corner that bent, and then it tucked and then barrel rolled.
It tucked and
collapsed. When you do those tight barrel rolls,
at speed,
those get violent.
Yeah.
So it's you know, again, glad he's okay, and you know, a testament to another well-built car.
And those YXZs, you know, it's kind of interesting. They don't necessarily fly flat unless you've done a lot of modifications to them. And that car is fully built. I've seen that car out here a number of times, really throwing it hard. And he's not one to back down. He's an experienced driver. He's not somebody out here for the first time. He has a car that is strategically built, not necessarily just bolt-on parts.
Right.
And he's got a lot of time and money into that car to make sure that it's going to be a good, safe time. And it looks like it did its job.
Yeah, I mean, he really sent it on that one too. You know, that was.
And he was held back a little bit. I mean, his first jump, he went hard and the wind was catching him. Yeah. And he felt the effects of that. And so he was a little bit reserved. And I think this is the last round. So he probably just said, you know what, it's time to send it to the moon and see what happens.
Yeah. Well, he did.
He did, and again, but he did it in an educated guess, right? Like he's saying, I am knowing what I'm doing and putting it on the line.
that honestly looked like more of a mechanical failure to me than like a driver
Oh,
error.
for sure. Yeah, when that front
when
end
he landed so hard and that front folded.
Yeah.
And then that led to the rollover.
And, you know, who knows what, you know, shocks he has on there or whatever. It could have been an eyelet cup that gave way. It could have been a ball joint. Ball joint's usually what gives way.
These guys are asking a lot of these cars when they're doing this. So, you know, it's no knock on like the build quality.
You guys move out of the way.
But, you know, what these guys are doing is pushing these cars to the extreme limit of what they were designed to do.
And let's just be clear, like, this is not something that 10 years ago you were even able to do.
Correct. Yeah, well, I mean, I go back to the original days of UTVs and side-by-sides, and, you know, if we were out here in Rhinos doing Rhino Huckfest, it'd be like a 25-foot jump or something, you know. So,
and it would have been a very hard landing.
A hard landing, and, yeah, like I had a Rhino Craft Rhino kind of right in the beginning, and we were doing some races with those things, and it just seemed like you were bending tie rods, breaking steering racks, like just anytime you did a jump, there was a very high probability that you were going to break the car.
Our buddy here at Reef Creative showing us the slow-mo here. Let's take a little bit of a view of what's going on. He comes down driver's side heavy on the nose. And
exactly.
Yep, that front end folded.
That left front folded.
Yep, and he's got sand through his face, and on that initial hit, I think is where he probably blacked out. But but you can see how it just instantly puts you into a cartwheel, and puts him over on end. So he looks like he's got about 3 tumbles on that car. But yeah, it comes down to that front end collapsing. If that front end hadn't collapsed, you know, he might have driven away from that.
But he landed right on that corner of the car, so all of the weight and the force of the car was put onto that left corner. So it's a little expected, I guess, to have something like that happen.
Right.
My co-driver, Donnie Powers, he co-drove with Voss, and I don't know if people have seen the wreck from Parker where he was dicing with another truck right at the start, and they got a little sideways off of a jump, and they're going about 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, and those guys go fast, like from nowhere to fast.
and they, you know, I guess my point is when you barrel roll like that, there's a lot of G-forces. So that's probably what knocked him out. Because like I've talked to my co-driver about when they did that roll with Voss, and he said that it was like the most violent thing he's ever done. You know? And when you roll front over, right? That's one thing. Like you're in this like momentum thing. But when you're getting tossed around at weird angles and your car is redirecting itself based off every hit that it gets, that can get pretty violent. And that's really important to come down to the harness selection. It comes down to your neck restraints, your neck pads, your helmet choice, things like that. If you look at monster trucks, it looks like we're getting some thumbs up from the medical crew here that he's going to be okay. Yeah, he got into the Hauser Dune Rescue van on his own ability, and he's going to go get checked out. There's staff here that really, they care about these people, and they want to make sure that everything's okay. So they're going to give him a full, you know, checkup and make sure that if he needs anything, he gets it. If he needs to get any specialty help, that they're there for him. But getting into the van on his own power is a good sign. And it looks like his girlfriend or his significant other is hopping in there with him.
Yeah.
And I think this goes to...
Now let's look at that car. Look at that car. That car right there is not in the worst shape.
Yeah, really. I think the right front
looks
like it's a little
front suspension.
Too,
it took all the abuse, right? But that car is not a yard sale. That car is not in 100 pieces.
I'm trying to tell, is the left front, like a tie rod's broken? Like
he just lifted up a few things there, but but yeah, no, when that collapsed, it probably was the upper and probably the tie rod.
Yeah.
But you can see that it's all still together, that it's not like, it's not picking up pieces like on some of the other cars. So you can see the wheel not turning as they try to pull it away. And, you know, obviously the axles are probably going to be broken and all that. But that car is still, for the most part, going to go on a trailer today and not in boxes.
Yeah, no, exactly. You know, the cage did its job. Looks like the upper light bar got bent, but you know, but for the most part,
it's rolling away right now.
Yeah, I think you replace some pieces on the front end, and that car's probably good to go.
So
what I was starting to say with the crew is, back in the day, I think something like this would have happened. You get a pat on the back and they just brush you off and be like, you're okay. They take head injuries a lot more serious now.
Right.
So that's where they're probably going to check him out.
Yeah, definitely.
Make sure he's okay. And, when you do get knocked out like that, it's important to make sure that there aren't any other serious issues going on.
Can I have you guys just back away from the satellite range? So hopefully our connection's doing okay there. We'll take a quick audio break from the action and jump back in when they're ready. Check, check. All right, looks like we're getting flags up to go again. And I apologize to anyone watching if you hear me telling people to move, but our lifeline is directly behind us on Starlink, attached to a Savage UTV case. Shout out to Matt from Savage UTV for helping us get that Starlink here. It's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, Savage UTV, they've really kind of upped their game with, there's some flame throwing.
All right, Brent sending it again through the flames. Good to see him going again. Every time someone takes a breather after a hit like that, we're glad to see him moving. And it looks like he's got some vigor back in him. He took a break, took a drink.
Yeah.
And he's rocking the music right now. He did that whole jump with his stereo banging. So there's one of the reasons why that car was a little bit heavier landing than the other cars, right? That car, yeah. So he has got a full cage build. He's got the Fiberworks on top, so a big fiberglass body on top of it. He's got full light bars with LP6s. He's got no slouch of suspension components. The deviant race parts are built heavy and hard. And the full Rockford Fosgate, stereo system, I'm pretty sure it's Rockford Fosgate, stereo system with towers and subs and all that. Right now we're seeing Brandon Raddick up on the top. I'm assuming he just won. Brent's jump was probably the last jump as an exhibition jump. With Brandon Raddick on top of the Dravet syndrome car, it looks like he probably just won. So we saw Ruslan just come up. We saw some of the other jumpers just come up.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Ruslan had to have won that.
I think Brandon got second. I think Ruslan got it.
Yeah. I think. We'll see from his reaction here.
Yeah, they're both up there. Ruslan got the win. We have a first place Ruslan Yankolevic, and we have a Brandon Raddick representing the Dravet syndrome car. Winning Huckfest is Ruslan, and you can follow him on social media, Ruslan Greasehands. He's a cool kid. He does cool stuff. He's highly involved in racing. Brian Crowder, TPR Performance, are some of his sponsors. Buggy Whips.
There.
And Brandon always with the backflip, doing a good show there. So thanks for joining us today. We're going to try to manage the chaos of people around us. We're going to lose signal if we haven't already. So to everybody watching, this has all been a big experiment to see if we can't make this industry better from the ground up, not from corporate buyouts, not from big sponsors, from the ground up as a part of the community. And Wes, I can't thank you enough for joining me today. This is all kind of last minute, and you jumped right in and partnered up with me here. But it's been a good time. This is all about the community and jumping in, freely and openly and doing stuff and, hey, let's go for RIP. All right, let's go. And having a good time and a good experience and making memories in destination locations here at UTV Takeover Coos Bay. And we got the bay, we got the bridge, we got the dunes, the community, thousands of people here having a good time together and doing it safely. And I think that's the most important thing. So anything you want to say before we wrap up?
Yeah, for sure. First of all, thank you for having me on here. Everybody for watching, thank you. And, I think events like this, UTV Takeover, Camp Razor, stuff like that, where you get the whole community together. Everyone comes out, has a good time. These are awesome things for the sport, you know. And if you look at how many people are out here and how big this sport has become, it's amazing.
I can't wait for our industry to really mature, to really embrace this, to have the outside world really embrace this and support it, and bring things like live stream and events like this all around the country, not just to the few that we get to do it at.
Yeah, it gives old racers something to do too.
Well, it's job security for you guys. All right, so thanks for joining us. Thanks to my co-anchor here at Wes. You can check them out online where?
Yeah, so at Wes Miller 70, also bombsquadracing.com. I come from doing the Huevos videos and stuff, so I'm actually working on a documentary that is going to be really cool because we've got a bunch of old footage of that. So you can check out my YouTube, Insta, Facebook at Wes Miller 70.
All right, and you guys can find us on sidebyside.guys.com. Our website has reviews, articles, things like that, along with our podcast on Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeart, all those different places. And if you're watching this live stream, you're on our YouTube channel, so give us a like and a subscribe, and we'll see you next time.